What's going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content. So if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. In today's video, if you cannot tell by the thumbnail and title, we're going to be talking about our last Summer League game against the Denver Nuggets. As of right now, the Charlotte Hornets are 2-0. And honestly, there's not really much to talk about the game because we really just have two players, maybe three, four really, who you would be interested in, as in they will have some impact on the season. Those guys being Leaky Black, Tajon Salon, Jake Stevens possibly, Nick Smith Jr., and maybe Xavier Simpson if he's able to because he's been great to me this summer league, so he might for some reason be able to get a two-way. But with KJ Simpson being the main person, with KJ Simpson already having a two-way, we already being loaded with guards, unfortunately he would probably not make the cut. So I'm really looking at Nick Smith Jr., Jake Stevens, Tajon Salon, and Leaky Black as the four main guys. So we'll briefly talk about that, but I really want to talk about the other thing that everybody is talking about as far as the whole roster. I don't think there was anybody missing. Was there at that game yesterday. So I definitely want to talk about that more than anything because that's something last year I've talked about. That's something that we've been kind of pushing for years. So to finally see it and come to fruition, huge. But as far as the game, not really anything crazy. Tajon Salon is what kind of stood out the most. He's still very raw, but he does play with that energy and effort that everybody has raved about. He has a motor that is going to keep going. I don't think he is able to slow himself down. And not Jake Stevens, Jeff Peterson talked about that a little bit because he went onto the broadcast and was talking about how Tajon Salon, he's one of those guys you kind of have to help him out because he will just go. He doesn't know any limits. He's just going to push himself, and then therefore kind of lose sight of the big picture. So it's up to the coaching staff, Jeff Peterson and company, to help him realize, you want him to be him because definitely he's not doing anything wrong per se. But you also want to help him be a professional, be a pro basketball player. So while he is going to be someone that's in the gym day in, day out, you do want to kind of help him and just make sure it's guided, make sure he's getting the rest he needs, make sure he's getting maybe even just the fun time he needs. Because if you don't, he's just going to work himself. And that could be negative depending on how that goes. But I think that's like a big part of it. But if we're sticking to what's on the court, he just has a tremendous motor. He plays defense. He moves well off the ball on offense. He's always trying to make the next play. He had 4 offensive rebounds, 10 total, also 10 points, double-double. And he's just going to go. I know I keep saying it, but it's true. He's going to take on contact. He's going to do whatever he can and just stay on the floor. There was a part where he got injured a little bit. Well, I wouldn't say injured. I was cooking, so I kind of missed what happened, but I did see them take him back to the locker room. And then he just came right back out. And normally it's not true necessarily, but it just feels like anytime a Hornets player goes down like that, they're out. And whether that would be for precautionary reasons or they're actually injured, you get tired of seeing it. It just happens so often. But for him to come back on the court, and then I think he played better after that, I think that was a huge testament to what kind of player he is. If I would sit here and say he's super skillful, he can do all these things, no, I wouldn't say that. But he literally has the base of a great basketball player. He has the drive, he has the effort, he has the physical ability. All you have to do is put the skills there with him, and he shows signs of everything. He's shown flashes that he could do it all. It's just he's got to put it together, and I think that's in a draft class like this where you were kind of unsure. Even though I had my favorites, and he actually was a player I was interested in, but still preferred to trade back for. I had my favorites, but to see him play this way, I get it. I get it. If they're talking about how they want guys with effort, how they want guys with speed, how they want guys to just have a motor on the floor, and then you have this super developmental staff, I see it. I see why they would draft him 6th overall. And as of right now, it's early summer league, but to see him go from what he was doing in game 1 to game 2, I think is tremendous. He got better, and throughout game 2, he got better. So to see him start was also pretty cool. He only had 18 minutes, so that's another thing to think about. Considering he started and only played 18 minutes and had a double-double, I think that's tremendous. He was getting charges. He was just doing it all. And the one thing I will say is that he does need to dribble a little more, be able to dribble a little bit more, but that's all developmental stuff. Right now, if you're talking about a base of a basketball player, I don't think it gets any better than him, especially in that draft class. And even before we drafted him, you would see the talking heads say that. Me as well. He was one of those guys where he had the highest potential probably in the entire draft class. It's just his floor was so low. But everything you wish you could have from a basketball player as far as just mentality, physicality, and things like that, he already has. So it's up to you and your developmental staff. I keep saying that, but that if you look at that staff, that's exactly what they're here to do, and that's what they've known to be able to do in the past. That's perfect. That's a perfect marriage. So I can't wait to see what happens with that. And can't wait to kind of see his role because he does a little bit more than I anticipated already. So I do want to see more so what his role will be with the Hornets. Nick Smith Jr. is continuously getting better. I made a tweet talking about I was disappointed with him in Sacramento, and ever since then he shut me up. So do I need to talk bad about every player and they'll shut me up and I'll be fine? But I wasn't against him. I'm a huge Nick Smith Jr. fan. I was super excited we drafted him. Super excited to have him. I just was a little disappointed because I have high expectations for him. I believe in him so much that I just thought he was going to give us a little more when it came down to playing the summer league. But he has stepped up. While yesterday he did not shoot well, only shooting 36% from the field and 29% from three. The game itself, because some of those were just shots he was just taking. Like he was just feeling himself and just taking it, which is fine. It's summer league, and we ended up winning the game. And for the most part, we had the game in handy, which I'll talk about that in a brief second. I'm not mad at it. I mean, I know the numbers may not look the best, but if you watch the game, he played a lot. He's been playing a lot better and a lot smarter, and I think that's benefited him tremendously. Also, Jake Stevens just continued doing what he does. He didn't have as good as a game this time as he did last time, but the ability to stretch the floor, the ability to, he's not a great defender, but he's a decent defender, and his ability to rebound, I think is worthy of a two-way. We're missing a two-way. I'll take it. And then Leaky Black just does what Leaky Black does. He's a high-effort player as well. He just seems like he makes the right plays. He still needs to develop his shot a little more. He still needs to develop a little bit of an offensive game, but overall, I think, considering I watched him at Carolina, he had no offensive bag. He's come a long way, and I think he's worthy of that two-way. So I really like what I'm seeing from Leaky. Now, the thing everybody wants to talk about, the thing I really want to talk about, having everybody show up. The only person I didn't see on the bench at that time when they were showing like the picture of everybody on the bench, I didn't see Cody. And not that that's a big deal. It really didn't matter who was kind of there. I just wanted to see representation of players there. So it was great to see everybody there, but I would have been okay with Grant, Miles and Melo or Brandon, Mark, and it really wouldn't have mattered the combination. I would have just been happy to see guys there. And I was like, oh man, the only person missing is Cody, which you know how I feel about Cody, so I wasn't tripping. But then I saw a picture of before, so maybe it was just in that frame. I just didn't see him. I saw a picture of them all before the game, and Cody was there. So it's just tremendous that I think, unless I'm missing someone, our roster has been in flux. But the only person that was missing, Josh Green obviously is in the Olympics. Micic is obviously in the Olympics. Reggie Jackson is not going to be on the team, I'm pretty sure. I don't really want him on the team. I like the idea of possibly bringing him in and him kind of being like a veteran mentor. But then they got Taj Gibson, which to me was another sign that, and he was also there, not to mention, and Seth, who basically the two newest Hornets were there. But yeah, with Todd Gibson coming in, I definitely feel like because Reggie Jackson I saw as what Todd Gibson is about to do for us. Just be that veteran in the locker room, just be around the young players, and kind of be that bridge. I think that's another reason they brought in Kimba on the coaching staff, is to kind of relate to the players. But if you get a guy that can kind of still play, and then he can kind of be that bridge between Kimba and the guys, I think that's just a perfect setup to me. But yeah, with Reggie Jackson, with Taj Gibson there, I'm pretty sure Reggie Jackson is out. Someone asked me that, and I tried to explain to them, like, there's been no talk about Reggie Jackson and what he could do. They don't even mention him. The only thing we got was a report of him, being acquired. Other than that, that was it. So I really don't want him on the team. If he doesn't want to be here, then don't be here. I mean, I get it, but also it's just like what we're trying to build requires everybody to be on board. So if you don't want to be a part of that, then it is what it is. We have too many guards anyway, so might as well get out of here. And that's not even saying nothing to him. It's just there would be no need for us to have him if he doesn't want to be here. But as I was saying, though, it was just great to see everybody. I know for years and years and years, when you criticized LaMelo not being there, and maybe criticize is a strong word, I would just bring it up and be like, I would like to see these guys there. And anytime you say something about LaMelo, people think you're hating on him or whatever. And Miles has kind of entered that territory lately too. If you say anything that's not overly positive, they think you're hating on him. But it's just like, I care about this team, I care about these players. I have expectations for them. If I say something wrong, it doesn't mean that I think they can't do this or don't do that. It's just I hope they can, I want them to be better. That's why I point out their flaws. But anyway, in the past, we've hoped for guys to show up, and there's been talks that, maybe they worked out in the gym in Vegas and whatnot, and there's been proof as well. But it was just been cool to see kind of the turnout of what we saw today, of just having all those guys there. Once again, it didn't have to be everybody, but it was great to see everybody. That shows you that they're really, really trying to do something. And that was kind of what I've been saying in the past, is that having everybody show up to a summer league game, it doesn't change anything. Not to me. It helps maybe build some stuff on the back end, but it's not like, all of a sudden you show up, everybody gets plus 3 3-pointers. No, it doesn't work that way. But what it does do is just build camaraderie. They haven't even been able to be on the floor together, so it's good to see that them hanging out in some capacity, because it allows for, to make up for lost times. It is just good to see. It's just good to see all your guys kind of there together. Whether, I don't care if they were joking, laughing. That's another thing people misconstrued. The two people LaMelo was laughing with, or he really wasn't laughing with, but the two people that were around him laughing when we were down 30 are no longer on the team. And I feel like that was a big moment in the Charlotte Hornets season, where everybody's like, "Oh, you can't say that," or they're what they're supposed to do, look miserable. No, the whole point was, you're getting destroyed and y'all are joking. Neither one of y'all are on the team anymore. That was kind of the point. So it was just good to see everybody there, everybody having a good time. We've been asking for it in the past and just have not been able to get it. And it's one of those things where, with everything going so wrong in these last few years, it was like, that was a minimum. That doesn't take much effort to get done. You don't have to show up to every game. You don't have to show up to every practice. But to showing up to one game, courtside, seeing your guys play, Nick Smith Jr. himself said that it was great to see everybody, and they played harder because of it. That was low hanging fruit. So the fact that we couldn't do that in years past, that is why I had a problem with it. For us being so bad and really looking like we were out of whack at times, it was like, that's the least we could do. So to see everybody together, everybody having a good time, the Hornets winning, great. And then kind of just to add on a little bit is where these last couple of summer league games, and really just not all of them, but in a few of them, there have been times where the Hornets have faced adversity, as in they'll blow, not necessarily blow a lead, but the team will draw in closer, or the game is close, or the team is on a run. The opposing team is on a run, and the Hornets have been able to dig their way and fight their way out. And I know it's just summer league. I know none of these guys will be on the roster except like 3 or 4 of them, but that's huge. That's huge to see that. We're getting timeouts we're calling timeouts at the right time. We're calling the right plays out of timeouts. We're doing just a lot of the right things to preserve our lead, to gain the lead, to just make sure we win the game. It's not a bunch of just kind of having the guys run out there. It seems like there's a plan, and they execute it, and they stick to it to a T, and it's won them these games. No matter how close the game got, or how much the team has blew out the other team. Like in China, China was trying to come back plenty of times, and Charles Lee was able to call timeout, reset the guys, and then they were able to get that 10-point lead turned into a 20-point lead, or whatever the case may be. So it's just been good to see how this team has performed, how this team has been ran, because it just makes you wonder, what were we doing in the past? Because I keep saying because, but it just makes you wonder. It really does. I really enjoy what I've been seeing from Summer League. I really enjoy the camaraderie. You see the guys talking to each other. These guys don't even know each other, but they've been talking to each other, trying to hype each other up, trying to, make the other guy a better player, even though he may not even be on the team. We saw it with mic'd up Brandon Miller. He was talking about guys and taking shots, and we see with Charles Lee talking with guys. So it's just been a complete culture shift in a matter of months, and I can't wait to see how that really translates to the main team and what we do from there. I want to see what it's like when we're down 10 with 7 minutes left. I want to see what it's like when we're up 10 with 3 minutes left. I can't wait to see what that's like, because the whole culture shift has started, and I think we're just headed in the right direction, and that's all I've ever asked for from this team. I didn't really expect any playoffs. I didn't really, I hoped for it, but I didn't think it was guaranteed. I didn't even guarantee it was good, but I wanted just the small things that it doesn't take any additional effort, transactions, players, coaches. It doesn't take any extra stuff to do to achieve. We weren't doing it, but now we are, and it's literally just only been 3 months, 4 months. So thank you, Jeff Peterson. Thank you to Charles Lee. Thank you to everybody. I think we're just headed in the right direction. I couldn't be happier.